on the left with red-green aggro, and Nick Veccie on the right with zombies. Yeah.
Seems good.
Yeah. So one thing to note, there are no Primeval Titans in James's list, but there are Kessig Wolfrons. So this is just, he's just attacking. Doesn't really want to get up to 6 mana.
Yeah. I mean, his curve tops out with Urabrask at 5, which seems
That's
reasonable.
a single one at 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking at both sideboards, though, you'll note there's Corrosive Gale on both sides. So Nick is leading on. We might have these flipped actually in names. Nick's on the right, James is on the left.
Yep.
Nick has just a forest on one to James's Diagraph Pool. 2 mana. Looks like
So
Llanowar Elves and Galblast on the
Blast.
Ghoul. Not the most opportune time to draw the elves, but good enough.
No, I mean it's fine. It's you'll still get 4 mana on turn 3, which is an acceptable. He can go Hunt Master at this point.
I think Huntmaster is probably very devastating for the zombie deck. Oh,
And
Fume
then-
Spitter.
Okay, so James is still ahead on tempo.
Yeah, a little bit of trading some one drops here.
So at this point, Nick is going to be starting his, or excuse me, James is going to be starting his 3rd turn. He hasn't taken a point of damage yet. Casting
Green
Sun Zenith for 2.
Strangleroot, guys, I'd assume.
That's the only legal target?
You can get Llanowar Elves or Birds.
Well,
but
you could, yeah.
I don't. Yeah, there's the Strangleroot, guys. Probably. Do you think he stays back or gets in there? I'd have to see his hand. I can't.
Without knowing his hand, it's hard to say. You're absolutely right, Ari. But I think if it was me in this case, I would.
There we go. In for 2.
I was going to say stay back, but.
If he has like a Hell Rider or something, he can probably just. I'm fine with trading life. I'm just going to kill you on the last turn.
Seems reasonable. So Nick taps down 2.
Distress,
revealing Incinerate, Force, Incinerate.
So, guess we're taking Incinerate today.
Seems fine.
Probably Diagraph Ghoul cracking back. Yep, 18 all.
Yep. And then follow that up with another Diagraph
That is
Ghoul.
the 3rd Diagraph Ghoul.
Have you had much experience playing the Zombies archetype, Ari? Have you tried it at all?
A little bit. I really didn't like the Obliterator builds. They felt a little clunky, but I really like the really, really aggressive red-black builds that were just... It happened to be a red deck that played like 11 swamps because the good red style 1-drops were these 2 power guys for 1 that are black.
Right.
So that's 4 lands. Strangleroot Geist hanging out on D right now.
Yep. We know he has the Incinerate.
Race. So he's got Incinerate, and it looks like a forest. I think he actually played a mountain that he drew out the top instead of the forest.
Do you think that's correct? I mean...
Yeah, it seems like he should have... I mean, it's marginal information, but still.
Agree.
Yeah, this could get real ugly if Nick has an Obliterator right here.
Yeah, that would not be what James Bush wants to see across the table. So it looks like Nick is trying to figure out if he wants to swing in.
Yeah.
I
don't know if he does right now. He doesn't have any real incentive to... Oh, I guess that's a trade.
Yep. So the Geist is going to come back as a 3/2.
Yeah. You might have like a... Oh, wow. There's Obliterator we were talking about.
Yep. Oh boy.
Maybe he's setting up to clear the Geist out of the way and just cracking with the Obliterator. Tragic Slip or something.
That is also possible.
Interesting to note, Nick's decks only sources of blue mana are 8 dual lands. No other way to actually cast these Phantasmal Images otherwise. So that's why he has all these swamps in play. So it's a Zenith for a Hunt Master. James going to go back up to 18 and get the Wolf token. Still a little ways away from making this Obliterator anything but unblockable, basically.
Yeah. Now, if you look at Nick's list, you'll notice that he has Geth's Verdict, Tragic Slips, Go for the Throats. So there is the possibility of him clearing out some of these blockers and really trying to attack with Obliterator for value.
I mean, I don't think that James can profitably block the Obliterator anywas.
No, he really can't.
Any chump block is just going to cost him his board. 5 permanents. He has 8 in play. What's he going to keep? 2 lands in a Huntmaster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems bad.
Especially because his guys are dying in combat, so he's not going to be able to sack them.
This is also very true.
He's probably just going to have to race this guy. But Nick might just not want to race, depending on what he has. Though he does have a lot of cards.
He does. So
Diagraph
holds back on the Obliterator. What do you think of that? Is that correct?
Probably. It's 5 damage for 7 basically here, because James can attack. It all depends on what's in his hand. If I was James, I would take this hit, by the way. This is signaling a Tragic Slip, and Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to trade away my Huntmaster for a Tragic Slip and a Diagonal Fool.
That seems like a pretty poor trade, but apparently Nick
Just has
doesn't
nothing.
have it.
Maybe he was seeing if he could free.
Ruh-roh.
Huntmaster, Ravager is up to 1 creature, to be fair. He does not have to kill the Obliterator.
He does not.
Though, if I was James, I might just 2 the Obliterator, 2 to you, incinerate your Obliterator, go all in on my attack for 7.
I mean, that's not the most unreasonable line of play, and it certainly puts Nick on the back foot.
Yeah, I don't know how he's gonna have to do a lot of work to break through this Obliterator otherwise.
I mean, if you look at the spells that James is running in his main deck, he has Incinerates, Galvanic Blasts, and Devil's Play, but nothing that's gonna profitably get him there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he doesn't really have he has no real way to deal with his Obliterator besides amassing a giant army. But I think he has to. Yep, I think he's going for it. This seems very correct to me. It's just kind of, I have 7 power in play. This is gonna kill you in pretty much 2 hits. Going to 2 against, unless Nick has a removal spell in hand, he's very far behind here.
Yep.
I mean, if he does, he does. I guess that's probably where I'd be. Opts not to.
that seems...
He might be... The other line he's
odd.
setting up is to keep Nick's Obliterator on defense and just continue flipping this Ravager over and over again. 2 to you, make a wolf, 2 to you, make a wolf, 2 to you, make a wolf. What? Okay.
Nope.
Does not... The sides do not have the same flip trigger, unfortunately, for James here.
Mm-hmm. So if you're Nick Veccie at this point, what do you really want? I mean, Drelf's Messenger seems like a good option, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Probably another Obliterator would be the best card, but Messenger does some good work.
it's an acceptable man.
It gets to 4, so it beats a Ravager is really important. Does James just want to... I think James might just slow roll... It looks like the last card in Nick's hand is a Phantasmal Image, by the way.
Yep, that looks to be about it, which if he draws one of the non-basic blue sources in his deck...
Lets him get a second Obliterator up. But, that Obliterator's not as good, because it immediately dies before it takes damage to an Incinerate or something at that time.
That is true. You would not get the trigger, but it would be able to battle profitably.
Yes, it's good in combat. I think James is debating here whether he wants to play his 2 spells, flipping back the Ravager. I don't think he does. I think he wants the Incinerate to kill the... Because that's now a 4/3. I guess that trades for the Geist, but
Boy.
I guess that's okay. Yeah, I guess trading for the Geist isn't the worst.
So we're going to have...
Nick can also just image the Messenger, and then when the image dies, copy the Obliterator on the way back.
Which is disgusting.
Yes.
That would be
Image
very
plus
good.
Undying. Clone plus Undying in general is very, very good.
So we have Nick Veccie with Obliterator and an Undead Messenger. James Bush with Geist, Huntmaster, Wolf, Elves.
Llanowar, yep. And the Geist is also undead as well.
Yes.
So it's a 4/3 versus a 3/2.
So we do have not horrible combat options here, but
Not that great.
no. There's nobody really in a dominating board position right now.
Yeah. James is just kind of hoping to grind away with his Huntmaster that's flipping yet again to a Ravager. 2 damage to the face. And presumably, probably just 2 to the Messenger. May
Seems
as
fine.
well. Not like he's going to attack or anything, but maybe he... Yeah, he's just not going to do anything with that 2 damage probably.
I mean, so at this point, James has plenty of land, which is actually going to somewhat neutralize the Obliterator, right? Because it means he can just start throwing away the lands he doesn't need.
Yep.
But
Just kind of sitting there. James looks like he has a Llanowar Elf, and it looks like another spell, so this Ravager might make another Wolf.
You sign up for command number 4. Come on up to the side of this area.
This guy does a pretty good Planeswalker impersonation.
that's a very good way of putting it.
This looks like Zenith for another. Yep.
Wow, okay.
James going back up. Is he still at 16 or the flashback, the Undying, I guess, on the the messenger probably. Yeah, there we go.
Correct.
But he's going back up to 18 now, and now he's just going to start double triggering every flip and really start going crazy.
That seems like a really great way for him to establish board control. I mean,
Yes.
he's going to be gaining life, he's going to be making more wolves, he's going to be
Yes.
dealing damage.
That card gets very dangerous in multiples.
Yes. So it looks at this point, folks, like Nick Veccie really needs something.
Yeah. James Bush back up to 20 now from this other trigger. And he's just getting into the range where Obliterator takes 5. Cool, you killed none of my board. Yep, binning that, taking 4 and binning the messenger after double Ravager flips.
Ouch.
Yes.
So
That is 3 wolves. And he's done here.
wow.
Yeah, it was not looking very good for him there.
That was intense.
Okay.
So going to the sideboards here, it looks like for James Bush, I don't know, what do you want to see here, Ari?
I want Dismember. That's what I want in this matchup.
Right.
Kills an Obliterator. Not actually good against some of the other cards, but you need a way to beat Obliterator.
Agree.
I don't really like Beast Within. It kills Obliterator, but just the 3/3 is very dangerous. It's possible Trader's Blood is good. I could see potentially boarding 1 or 2 of that in. He has 2.
Sure.
And I'd probably like Batter Skull.
Batterskull seems like it would be a viable play for this.
Yeah.
For this. And then,
I'm just trying to figure out what he boards out. He definitely wants Metamorph. He wants all of his mana guys probably. Maybe he either keeps them all or boards a lot out, and I think he needs them. Sword of War and Peace doesn't seem very good against this mono black deck.
no, it just
Unless
It's
he has
cute,
to
but-
hook it up to a birds to get through. So I'd probably board out War and Peace. I don't know if Hellrider's very good because it seems more about board advantage and less about racing, but maybe that was
Right.
that specific game.
right.
So he definitely boards out War and Peace, probably boards in like Batter Skull, Dismember. The rest of his cards seem pretty good. Nick has Sword of War and Peace, which might be okay.
Possibly, maybe,
The
but-
Strangleroot guys kind of makes that card a lot worse. Mimic Vat seems amazing in this matchup.
Yeah, if he's able to
Yeah.
to nuke a Huntmaster or
Just anything. Just
Yeah, pretty
gives
much.
him gives him some sort of advantage, like his own messenger even.
yeah, wow.
Just start churning out, end of your turn, make a messenger to you, untap, attack with the messenger, go, and repeat. Like you can't do it on your turn, but you can just use the old after end of turn triggers have occurred.
Right.
Make a guy, untap and hit them trick.
Which-
Or you can start, use a Fume Spinner and get to start building a gnarled effigy. Build your own
Is
gnarled
that
effigy.
Shadowmoor?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
What else does he want? Help 4th Obliterator for sure.
No question.
Ratchet Bomb only really profitably kills birds and tokens. I don't think I'd want that here. Definitely doesn't want Surgical. Corrosive Gale, a card that's been talked about a lot in both of these it's in both sideboards. Don't think he wants it. Doesn't want Nihil Spellbomb. Maybe wants Doomblade. Probably wants Doomblade.
Doomblade is probably. I mean,
So-
more. Do you think Distress is good for Nick Veccie in this matchup, or does he want
Probably.
to?
I'd probably just board it. It might be. But I'd probably board out some number of the Distresses. There's 3 cards on the sideboard, and conveniently 3 Distresses in the main deck.
Sure.
So I just don't want to draw a Distress if these games are going to grind out like that.
Yeah.
Even if maybe you can't beat some other cards. I don't know. I think it's on Nick to decide whether he assumes he can't beat like a Hellrider or something or a Zenith, but I think he can if he just boards in these cards. He has a Mimic Vat, an Obliterator, and a Doomblade for 3 Distress, is how I'm seeing it. Whereas, James also probably might want Thrun.
Thrun would be an interesting option. Yeah, I mean it's a reasonably sized man. It can it makes Obliterator more problematic. Just block, regenerate.
Well, it takes 4. That
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
matter.
No, sure, you're right.
The issue is that James didn't see any of the images from Nick game 1.
Right.
So Nick actually has he has 5 ways to kill a Thrun in his deck, and also Guess Verdict. So he has 9 ways to kill a Thrun. So I can see that getting boarded in. Looking with the list on the table, I wouldn't, but I could see that being the kind of thing you're like, they're mono black. I'll just board in Thrun and they'll never kill it. Oh wait, I have 9 answers.
Oops. Yep. So this could be an interesting matter of what do I have? What do I think you have?
Yeah. So James had a bird to Nick's Diregraph Pool.
So we're off to the races. James hoping to ramp out while Nick Cracking in for 2 on turn 2, one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah. What happened to the days of, oh man, that's too good to have 2 power on 1 mana?
I mean,
Ooh, there's a guess verdict for the birds. James drops to 17 here.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty harsh.
Yeah, it's a good start. 2 mana from James for a birds and a Galvblast, it looks like, taking out that Diagraph Pool.
Yep.
Nick suddenly reaching the range where he starts to play some of his super powerful cards like Messenger, but it looks like he doesn't have a land, just a Gravecrawler. It also looks like James might not have a land. James has Stranglerootgeist, Hellrider, and Green Sun Zenith in hand.
Taps down for...
Zenith for mana guy? Probably another birds, maybe not.
Probably so. I mean...
Yep, that's another birds.
There we go.
Passing right back. And Gravecrawler is going to start shambling across the field. James Bush down to 15. So someone... Yeah. Gravecrawler's a just very interesting card.
Oh, and there's a Messenger, which
Charles
is
Messenger.
Going to push James down to 13.
Yep. And yeah, this is a start that James is going to have to start fighting out of. Ooh, that's an Incinerate, which I don't know if it does a lot, but
it really doesn't.
No, these threats are not very prone to dying to removal.
I mean, what do you Incinerate here? Do you
probably the rebuy on the Messenger?
Probably.
That looks like a Stranglerootgeist coming down with Incinerate mana up for James. Nick untaps and draws, sends them in, and I think James is gonna. Yep, James blocks this Stranglerootgeist on the Messenger, opting to take 2 from the Gravecrawler, 2 from the trigger off the Messenger, and going down to 9 life.
This is putting James in a very precarious position. I mean,
second Messenger down to 7. I think James has to get to a Huntmaster very soon. Incinerate takes down the first Messenger that was undead, but still facing down 5 power. Looks like he drew a Llanowar Elf and has a Hellrider. Hellrider's not going to do too much.
Nope.
It's going to block this Gravecrawler, but...
This is looking pretty bad for James Bush right now. I mean...
He can get back in it with the Huntmaster at any point, but... Let's see, Nick's going to serve with at least the Gravecrawler, probably. Or not the Gravecrawler, the Juralis Messenger. Oh, just sends with both. I guess, I mean, can't block, must attack, same thing.
Sure, absolutely.
Messenger, not counter. Oh, that's a third Messenger for Nick, and the Gravecrawler from Graveyard. The Gravecrawler was blocked by the Hellrider.
Yep.
And the Messenger traded with the first half of the Messenger traded with the second half of a Stranglerootgeist. James Bush at 5 life, facing down Messenger with a counter, Messenger without a counter, and a Gravecrawler with only 2 Birds of Paradise, a Hellrider, and 2 lands in play.
So with this matchup, already, it looks like James probably kept a pretty... Oh.
Accident.
Never mind.
Yeah. The hand he kept was probably reasonable. He had 2 birds, 2 lands, and he just got Guess Verdict and didn't have a Huntmaster. I think that was the issue, is that he had to use his Green Sun Zenith on mana instead of Huntmaster, and that's why he lost.
Sure, that seems perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, he might have... I guess he didn't really have any action if he didn't play the... I think he probably could have slow-rolled the Zenith for another turn or 2 and probably tried to get to threats, because he had the Stranglerootgeist to play on that first turn that he Zenith for the birds.
He did.
That's one of the really interesting things that always pops up with Zenith, is that you often have this choice where you're like, I can ramp, or I can get a monster. And in some decks it's really clear. Like, Wolf Run, you look at your hand. Well, do I have a monster in my hand? No, the Green Sun Zenith is my monster. Do I need the mana to get to my monster? Well, it's my mana. Like, very, very obvious. But when you start to get to decks like this red-green aggro deck, it gets very difficult. And, you know, in Legacy tomorrow, we'll probably be seeing a lot of these scenarios with Dryad Arborize, where, like, well, I have a Green Sun Zenith in my hand. I don't necessarily have to ramp, but if I ramp, I get to play, like, Knight on 2, but then I only really have a creature to follow back with. And you have to, it's this very sort of delicate balancing act of, do I need more threats? Do I need the mana to actually play the game fast enough to win? So Green Sun Zenith is a very, very skill testing card as a tutor, right?
Right. I mean, you have to not only be able to identify where you are in the game and what you want from it, but also what the correct answer is.
Whether you even cast it at all. Like, there's always the option with Green Sun Zenith to not cast it.
Sure. You can always sit on it, just let your opponent play out a little bit more, and then go over the top on them.
Yep.
But sometimes it's good to just get something out quick and make your opponent deal with it instead.
Yeah. So James is going to be on the play this last game, which is probably going to be very important.
Yeah, if he can get off to another start like he had this last game, it's going to be really James. So at this point, James has to be thinking about what kind of hands he actually wants to keep in this matchup.
I don't know how much he can mulligan because it's very attrition based. So I think there's a lot of mid-range acceptable hands that maybe only have one threat or just are very heavily Hellrider based. I don't think I'd want to keep.
Right.
Hellrider, after watching that last game, seems very unimpressive.
It seems like it's very hard for James to get to a board position where attacking with Hellrider is better than something else.
Right.
Whether
the other thing, again, he hasn't seen an image, he hasn't seen a metamorph, he hasn't even seen a blue land. That card could just be a liability. Copy it, kill you, thanks.
Which, I mean that's definitely something where Nick could just come back from behind. James tries to all in him, and he's like, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah, these clone effects are very important in this format. There's a lot of very powerful creatures. So players drawing up their opening hands.
Yep. So it looks like Nick Veccie has...
I can see 2 lands.
Couple lands.
So looks like Nick's keeping, and that's a turn 1 Birds of Paradise for James.
So, I mean, that's about the ideal 1-drop.
Land or L sometimes, but Birds helps you cast your spells. Nick probably debating between a 1-drop or killing the Birds. Can't see his full hand, can't make the full decision.
Right, but
Fume Spitter immediately trades.
Totally acceptable. So James is he's not ramping out as much as he would like, but he did draw a Copperline Gorge.
Passes the turn. The green-red decks are light on 2s and 3s is part of the issue with them. Nick Veccie has Diregraph Ghoul, probably the other spell he's debating. Just Diregraph Ghoul, Swamp, pass. James probably looking at a EOT Incinerate maybe. Looks like he has a Batterskull in his hand, actually.
Yep, that is definitely Batterskull.
And
good choice.
Batterskull is probably very important in this matchup. Doesn't really die, gains you back your all spells into life. It looks like he has oh wow. James has Huntmaster and Dismember and Batterskull in his hand. This is exactly what he wants here. James dropping to 18, and obviously this is the kind of draw that he wants Distress against. Oh, and there's the first blue.
There's the blue. So now James has got to be wondering, okay, you have blue, but what do you have blue for?
Right. Nick also has a Tragic Slip in hand, and James misses a land drop. Back to Nick, bashing him down to 14 because of a Dismember for the Ghoul.
Blows the Dismember on the Ghoul? I mean, is that correct?
I probably would have saved it, especially because you're 1 land away from these Huntmasters. It's not even like the red deck where you have to save all of this life. You just need to stabilize at a reasonable amount of life to not get messed up. Nick just has another land. It looks like his hand's probably a bunch of removal and images.
And there's Huntmaster.
Huntmaster comes in. James going back to 16 life.
And
looks like Nick doesn't have a counterspell in his deck. It's probably just bluffing, sitting there thinking.
Sure,
so Nick's 5 lands to James's 4.
Standard winner box number 3.
James is a Huntmaster, but Nick can just image right back, make a Huntmaster. That's actually not as good as you think it is because the clones don't flip.
That's right, they certainly don't.
But gives him a board presence, makes a wolf.
So now we're looking at Phantasmal Image copying Huntmaster.
Yep.
And Nick Veccie going up to 22 life.
Yep.
For those of you just turning in, we are in round 6 of the StarCityGames.com open weekend here in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm Nicholas Saban here with Ari Lax, and we are watching Game 3 of Nick Veccie versus James Bush.
Nick this turn has imaged a Huntmaster and then Geth's Verdict and Tragic Slip down the 2/2/2s from James. But it looks like James is just going to play another Huntmaster, go back up to 17.
Seems fine.
Yeah, threatening to, if no spells are ever cast in a turn, immediately flip the Huntmaster and kill that image.
Which, that would be a really great swing for him.
Yeah.
Nick, I don't know, what's Nick hoping for at this point? What does he want to see? Yeah.
That's his trump card in this matchup, and that's how he's going to win the game.
But if James hits one more land, then we start seeing Batterskull.
Yes.
And that just gets bad real quick.
It's actually possible that Nick wanted Distress because, I don't know if he knew this, but James is probably the control here. He has the better endgame.
Yep. That definitely seems like a matchup where Nick does not want the game going long.
No. The issue is he needs all this removal, he needs all these threats, so there might not be room for Distress. He might not need, like, you were talking about Mimic Vat earlier. He might not need that, but...
Nope.
It's a pretty good trump, I guess.
So Nick Veccie actually with more lands than his opponent right now,
Yeah.
and James Bush with the secret sideboard tech Batter Skull.
Waiting on the wings for the 5th land to show up. 3 mana from Nick. Probably represents a messenger or a metamorph, but metamorph, Huntmaster, making all of these wolves.
Again, not as good as you would like, as you had mentioned earlier, Ari, but still acceptable. I mean, it's going to get Nick in a comfortable life total, and then go for the throat.
On the second Huntmaster, Nick's going to bash in with the 2 guys, and I think James is going to... I don't know. Does he know about the trigger? Like, I would the right play is to block the wolf, but I don't know if he knows that the copy doesn't flip.
This is one of those situations where having better understanding of the rules will actually help you win games.
Or just playing Moment Basic and getting frustrated whenever your guy doesn't flip.
That is also... I haven't played Moment Basic in forever. Oh man, I missed that.
James draws. Looks like he has Beast with it in his hand, but he draws a Strangleroot Geist. That's probably going to be his play for the turn. It's the best blocker, stabilizes him.
Sure. So we're seeing Nick Veccie with 2 copied Huntmasters and a Wolf token. He's at 24 life to James's 15.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so James, let's say, runs out the Stranglewood Geist.
James also has a Metamorph in his hand. He could also Metamorph the Metamorph and make his own Huntmaster and go back up to, well, stay at 15. Yep.
Which is exactly what he's going to do.
Make a wolf. Start some Clone Wars.
So James Bush is going to go up to 17 life. And...
Can you refer to him as Count Dooku?
I mean, that seems like a Can we change the overlays, please, Jesse? No. JK.
Let's see.
So Nick Veccie...
Looking at his board, his 3 Grizzly Bears to James Bush's 2, offering all of the trades, and I think James just has to accept at this point. You know, I'm going to stick Batterskull and kill him, so that's what I'm going to do.
So James does
blocks down the. Sure. I mean, we discussed how the Phantasmal Image isn't the exact right one. Oh, there's the mountain, and that is the Batterskull. I think James is at 13 now because of the 2 life from the Metamorph, but that's gonna quickly get erased.
Oh boy. So, and you'll notice the way that James held out the Batterskull is almost like he expected the counter, like he thinks Nick is representing Mana Leak or something similar.
Nope.
But nope, no such luck.
Just all the clones. And that card, you know, does a lot of heavy lifting, and it can still be equipped. He doesn't actually have to bounce it or anything. He can just play a guy, suit up.
And Nick Veccie actually picks up the Batterskull and be like, it is that good.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need Stoneforge Mystic to make it dumb.
No, it's, you know, still very recursive threat. It's a very strong card. Very strange card, very strong card.
So we see a land in Nick Vecchie's hand, and...
Is that a Tragic Slip? It doesn't look like enough to beat this Batterskull.
Nope, it's...
Actually, unless he has an Obliterator, I don't think he's going to be able to deal with this Batterskull in any sort of reasonable way. So he needs Obliterator or Mimic Vat. It's one of his big trumps to even stop this.
So we're going to see Strangleroot Geist, probably for James Bush.
Yep. This is going to be the old attack, and he has Beast Within and Dismember in hand, so I don't even think an Obliterator is enough at this point.
Wow, no, I mean... This is where Nick Veccie absolutely didn't want to be. James had enough time to mana up, draw something big and fat.
To sort of start gaining life is the other important thing, getting out of range of even a single attack.
Yeah, and as James is going to continue to gain more life, Phyrexian Obliterator becomes less relevant.
Yeah. I mean, Obliterator could still slow down the board if James didn't have double removal in hand.
Yes.
I mean, this is the classic, you know, the aggro player failed to do their job, and now the control player is taking over.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Veccie.
He blocks the wolf on the Undying Strangleroot Geist, leaving Tragic Slip for the Germ token. But that still leaves James with a Strangleroot Geist and a Batterskull unequipped in play, which very quickly team up to make a 7/6 Vigilance lifelink.
I mean, that's good, right?
Yeah.
It's acceptable.
Acceptable. Geralt's Messenger tries to even things out a bit, but is not going to be blocking this turn. James is faced with the choice of whether he wants to bounce the batter skull and recast it, or potentially get blown out by removal. Just opts to bounce it, make another germ.
Seems like the safe play.
Yeah.
So
looks like is that a Kessig Wolfrun you just drew?
looks. Yep, you drew the Kessig Wolfrun.
Ooh. Batter skull hits
Run
the
out
board
Batter Skull again. With Dismember mana up now.
Yeah. If I'm James, I probably just don't attack with this Geist.
But he's going to.
Yeah.
Because you're not James.
No, you have this long game. The only card I'd be afraid of is like Zombie Apocalypse. You're just very set in the long game, and the only thing you want to do is not take 3 on this hit if he randomly has some way to beat this Batter Skull, which I can't really think of one, but I'd rather just, play it safe.
It's not like James is under any kind of serious clock at this point.
Right, yeah. Just the 3 damage could potentially lead to something disastrous occurring.
So there's Obliterator for Nick Veccie.
Yeah.
He's probably feeling pretty good about that, but the Dismember in James Bush's hand is likely going to say otherwise.
Yeah, Dismember or Beast Within, his choice.
Which do you pick here?
It has to probably just lead on the Dismember. Beast Within can kill random things like... I don't know what he could have, but Dismember can kill random things.
It does blank... Well, I mean, if Nick still has Mortar Pod here, it does blank that. But
Mimic Vat was the one we're talking about. James Bush dropping down 4 life, but going to gain it right back. Probably debating if he wants to just slam this Urabrosk.
That... Yeah, Urabrosk just seems very, very good here.
He has a Birds of Paradise in hand, does he? Is that back card?
Looks like a Geist, an Urabrosk.
Urabrosk and Birds, and a Beast Within.
Kraxin for 7.
Yep. Nick probably debating whether he wants to trade or not. I think you have to trade at this point.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of profit is Nick going to get off of letting them through? He's not going to crack in for damage.
No.
He's slightly ahead on life, but not for very long. And so Nick is just tanking on this one, trying to figure out what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there don't seem to be any good choices here, just picking the least bad.
Yeah. Again, Nick's deck really is not set up. Mono Black has never been traditionally known for killing artifacts, and especially ones that bounce. Yeah.
No,
Offering to trade for the Strangleroot Geist. Undying counter moves right over to the Messenger, and James effectively deals 4, gains 2 on the attack off the Batter Skull's lifelink and the Undying trigger from the Messenger. Birds of Paradise hits the board, and James just kind of looks content to sit here.
He's got a good board position. He's not under any kind of
Geist in hand.
pressure.
He's just not casting. Opted to Dismember with the wrong mana, probably. Didn't activate Wolfrun either. Just probably playing around. Is there any single way my opponent could kill my Batter Skull? I just don't want to lose this card, so I'll have the bounce at all points.
Right. I mean, you could ostensibly see a line where James has to bounce the Batter Skull during his... No, that seems bad.
Well, there could just be like a random shatter effect that he's like, I don't know what could happen besides Batter Skull dying to lose this game.
Sure. So, looks like we're back to James Bush.
Can't tell what the last card in his hand is, but he's pretty dominating board position. Attacking with the Batter Skull into the 4/3 Messenger. Nick isn't obligated to block, but yeah, I don't think you can block in this case.
No.
Trading for a Germ token and then getting it bounced and recast is just
that's
nightmare.
Not where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So,
though, given how James has been playing this game, he's probably not going to want to bounce this Batter Skull for a long time. Like, if he bounces it, it could get discarded, so he's going to just leave it in play even if it dies until he can play around Mana Leak, based on how he's played this game.
And, I mean, the one advantage of Nick having this slower hand is he's able,
entry fee is $10.
He's obviously putting James on thinking he has Mana Leak.
Yes.
And so he can play that to his advantage.
Yeah,
but he really needs to get some action on the board.
In order to take advantage of that, he would need some sort of way to beat the Batter Skull that's on board, which he just doesn't have. There's a guess verdict. It's going to take out the birds.
Seems
not
fine.
what he's looking for.
Whereas it looks like James might have Green Sun Zenith in the grip.
He does.
James taps out the birds before resolving Geth's verdict.
Potentially representing Beast Within.
And Tragic Slip on the Germ token now for Nick Veccie.
Yep.
Gives him just a little bit of breathing room. It's not great, but
yeah,
not horrible either.
Let's see. Yeah, he has a lot of options here. Life totals have been updated, 11 for Nick to 12 for James. James can get another Huntmaster. He can play this Urabrosk. Yeah, 11. I'm just doing some math here on whether it might be worth playing some. Yeah, I probably would have played a creature this turn, or would play a creature this turn, so that next turn you can kill him through a zombie apocalypse. That is actually the only card I could think of. Oh, that's it. There's okay, Tragic Slip, killing the Batterskull token.
Yep.
Okay,
so
changes things a little bit. Getting a Huntmaster presumably with this Green Sun Zenith.
That seems like the optimal play here. I mean,
yeah,
there's really nothing else.
Yeah, this Green Sun Zeniths are just extra copies of these very good creatures. You know, I want to play 8 Huntmasters. I want to play 8 Strangleroot guys. We can do this.
It's a ridiculous card. I mean, just like we had discussed earlier, it gives you such versatility. It's also skill testing. It allows you to outplay your opponent, or conversely, if your opponent
not
is
outplay your
stronger, misplay.
Underplayer, yeah.
It seems a worthwhile risk.
Agree. Huntmaster comes in, putting James with 4 power to Nick's 4, but this Batterskull is just taking over the game from the moment it hit the board.
It's something for which Nick really has no easy answers. He has to try to land some more dudes, but
James going to drop to 10 from this Geralt's Messenger attack, probably. I can't imagine a scenario where I want to block.
No. Blocking definitely not correct. And there's
the
the Obliterator.
Nick might think he has a way back in, but I think this Beast Within is going to prove otherwise.
So let's see. James has 6 lands right now.
Yep.
Not enough to both Beast Within and Batterskull.
What's he got? He has Strangleroot guys, Urabrosk. Is that 2 guys? He's shuffling a little bit faster than I can read these. I think that's 2 guys. I think the play is it's either Geist. Yeah, he's got 2 guys. It's probably just Geist and pass the turn and Beast Within on upkeep. The other option is just passing the turn, flipping the Ravager, and then Beast Withinning on upkeep. But I don't think he's quite to the point where he's going to start trying to flip all the ways with the Ravager. The other thing to consider is that if you wait the turn and then Beast Within, he could draw a Tragic Slip and punish you for killing a guy. But yeah, this looks like just a main phase Beast Within.
Perfectly reasonable. I mean, he's not going to be able to attack through it, but
yeah. At this point, he's not worried about attacking. He's just worried about keeping the board relatively stable and proceeding from there. Because he has this Batterskull. He has the inevitability.
So James
drops
Bush.
down.
Yep, there's the Geist.
Passing the turn.
Yep. And I don't know. I mean, looking at Nick's deck list, it's kind of hard to identify what he actually wants here as potential outs.
I think he just has to draw removal spells from this point and kind of keep the Batterskull in a manageable range. So it's a Gravecrawler, definitely not what he's looking for. Passing the turn is not what I would do in this case. I think you need to start pressuring him and hoping to keep him on the back foot. You know, he's at 10, assuming we just missed the 4 damage from the last Geralt's hit. And you know, just forcing the block with a Geist or forcing the block with anything is where you need to be right now, I feel like. So yeah, if he attacked with both, there's not really that great blocks for James. He could trade away the Huntmaster, but that's not that great. Let's see. This Urabrosk in hand's not going to come down. I think is that a Llanowar Elf, it looks like?
Perhaps.
This might be a time to just suit up this Batterskull.
$10 draft number 5. Come on to the side of it.
Tapping 6 mana to do this.
Draft number 5.
Really?
Fixing it. There we go.
All right.
That is equipped. Not the Geist? I would equip to the Geist. Ooh.
Oh,
that
boy.
is the Batterskull equip, no spell, flip the Ravager, probably just take the Gravecrawler out, eat a mana. At this point, you actually want Nick casting spells.
Yep.
Because now, if you flip it back, you just get more wolves.
This is... Yeah, this
Brutal.
is definitely not where Nick Veccie wants to be right now. He's at 9 life.
Facing
James Bush going up. And I think they're checking whether or not the Ravager actually triggers the Batterskull ability here. And
I believe so. It is
sounds-
Ravager doing the damage.
It sounds correct. I'm just going to double check that real quick on my robot.
The joys of having a judge in the booth.
Oh, yes. The number of judge apps. So let's see. Ravager of the Fells. Whenever this creature transforms, Ravager
it
deals
deals-
2 damage. So the creature is the source. Batterskull will boost the life. Which just makes this particular combination all the more ridiculous. Now, at this point, Nick Vecchie's board state really isn't evolving at all.
Yeah,
He's just rebuying
treading
on-
water, kind of hoping to stay alive long enough for this Ravager of the Fells not to kill him, which is an 8/8 right now. And he's getting attacked by this Ravager and this Strangleroot Geist into his Joss Messenger, Beast Token, and Gravecrawler. Gravecrawler can't block. 7 power, not going to kill this Ravager probably. But he's at 9 life and looking to take some serious damage. Even if he does trade for this Ravager, he's just packing it in. Second Gravecrawler
GG.
in hand. And James Bush's Red-Green Beats takes it from Nick Veccie 2-1 right here. And the zombie deck is strong. It's just some of those green cards are very, very powerful. And Batterskull, not something traditionally black decks are very good at doing. Killing recurring creatures and killing artifacts. Not very good things for black decks.
Well, in this particular matchup, I mean, we talked about the distress and that being a potential out, but
if he didn't see Batterskull the first 2 games, I don't think I'd want it. But
No.
only against the card Batterskull.
so that was a tough game. It looked like Nick was never really in it. He didn't get the blistering sort of Diagraph Ghoul messenger.
He definitely was the beatdown. So
And-
you were looking up card text on an app on your phone, though?
Yes. There are actually a number of apps that you can use. There's the MTG Guide app, which was, I believe, made by Michael. Gosh, what's his name? I'm gonna look this up now. And these aren't apps necessarily you even need if you're a judge. If you are Michael Wybrow, who's a judge from Australia, put together an app called MTG Guide for the iPhone. Which has the full Oracle text for every card ever printed, the comprehensive rules, the Magic Tournament rules, the IPG. And speaking of apps...
Yeah, speaking of apps, Star City has a free app to access the Star City content via their phone now. Via iPhone only. The Android's
We're working on it.
Still in the works. So there's basic free version, and you can also upgrade and get a few added functionalities. Some price checks and looking at players and premium content, assuming you have a premium account. So the mobile app, it's really great. It's free for iPhone, so take a look. It does a lot of good things.
Yeah, it's really great actually to have an app on your phone that you can use just to keep track of games, like getting pens and pads all the time. Kind of sucks.
It's also approved for life total record use at Star City events.
We do allow that. It's important when you're playing games to keep track of what your life total is, what your opponent's life total is. The worst thing as a judge is when you get called over. Judge, my opponent says he's at 17. I have him at 1.
My D20's at 17, but his life total on stacks of cards has me at negative 43.
We don't know what's going on. Fix it, please. And that's when I start getting aneurysms.
Yeah, it's
exploding in my brain.
Yeah, exactly.